We're going to dive into a topic that can truly transform your life. Talk to yourself like this for 3 days. Now, you might be wondering, Jim, what's so special about 3 days? Well, let me tell you, 3 days can be the beginning of a whole new you. You see, the way you talk to yourself shapes your reality. It's not just what happens to you that determines your life. It's how you interpret what happens. And that interpretation, it starts with your self-talk. Now, I want you to think about something for a moment. How do you talk to yourself? Are you your own best friend or your own worst critic? Do you encourage yourself or do you tear yourself down? The answers to these questions are more important than you might realize. For the next 3 days, I want you to become acutely aware of your inner dialogue. Listen to that voice in your head. Is it kind? Is it supportive? Or is it harsh and judgmental? Most people, if they're honest with themselves, will find that their inner voice isn't always as friendly as it could be. But here's the good news. You have the power to change that voice. You have the ability to reshape your inner dialogue. And that's exactly what we're going to focus on for the next 3 days. Day 1 is all about awareness. You can't change what you're not aware of. So on this first day, I want you to pay close attention to your self-talk. Don't try to change it yet. Just observe it. Notice when you're being hard on yourself. Notice when you're doubting your abilities. Notice when you're focusing on your failures instead of your successes. This awareness might be uncomfortable at first. You might be surprised at how often you criticize yourself. But remember, discomfort is often the first step towards growth. Embrace it. Welcome it. It's a sign that you're on the right track. As you go through your day, keep a mental tally of your negative self-talk. How many times do you tell yourself, I can't, or I'm not good enough? How often do you focus on what you lack rather than what you have? This awareness is crucial because you can't change what you don't acknowledge. Now, let's move on to day 2. This is where the real work begins. On day 2, I want you to challenge your negative self-talk. Every time you catch yourself saying something negative, I want you to pause and ask yourself, is this really true? Is there evidence to support this thought? You see, most of our negative self-talk isn't based on facts. It's based on fears, on past experiences, on limiting beliefs that we've picked up along the way. But just because we believe something doesn't make it true. So when you catch yourself thinking, I'm not smart enough to do this, challenge that thought. Ask yourself, is that really true? Haven't I learned new things before? Haven't I overcome challenges in the past? When you start questioning your negative self-talk, you'll often find that it doesn't hold up under scrutiny. But challenging your negative self-talk isn't enough. You need to replace it with something positive. This is where affirmations come in. Now, I know some of you might be skeptical about affirmations. You might think they're just empty words. But let me tell you, affirmations are powerful tools when used correctly. The key is to make your affirmations believable. Don't just say I'm the best if you don't believe it. Instead, try something like I'm capable of learning and growing. Or I have overcome challenges before and I can do it again. These affirmations are positive, but they're also realistic and believable. Remember, the goal isn't to lie to yourself. The goal is to focus on the positive truths about yourself that you might be overlooking. It's about shifting your focus from what you can't do to what you can do, from your weaknesses to your strengths. Now, let's talk about day 3. This is where we take things to the next level. On day 3, I want you to not only challenge your negative self-talk and replace it with positive affirmations, but I want you to start talking to yourself like you would talk to your best friend. Think about it. If your best friend came to you feeling down or doubting themselves, how would you talk to them? Would you agree with their negative self-talk? Of course not. You'd encourage them. You'd remind them of their strengths. You'd help them see the situation from a different perspective. So why don't we do the same for ourselves? Why are we often our own harshest critics instead of our own best supporters? On day 3, I want you to change that. I want you to become your own best friend. When you face a challenge, instead of telling yourself, I can't do this, say, this is difficult, but I've overcome difficult things before. I can figure this out. When you make a mistake, instead of berating yourself, say it's okay. Everyone makes mistakes. What can I learn from this? This shift in self-talk can be transformative. It can change how you feel about yourself, how you approach challenges, and ultimately what you're able to achieve. Because when you believe in yourself, when you support yourself, you're much more likely to take the actions necessary to succeed. Now, some of you might be thinking, Jim, this sounds great, but can 3 days really make a difference? And my answer is a resounding yes. 3 days can absolutely make a difference. But here's the catch. It's not about the 3 days themselves. It's about what those 3 days represent. These 3 days are the beginning of a new habit. They're the start of a new way of thinking, a new way of talking to yourself. And habits, my friends, are the building blocks of our lives. As the saying goes, we first make our habits, and then our habits make us. So these 3 days are just the beginning. They're the spark that can ignite a lifelong change in how you talk to yourself. But for that spark to turn into a flame, you need to keep at it. You need to make this new way of talking to yourself a habit. And how do you do that? Through consistent daily practice. After these 3 days are over, don't stop. Keep challenging your negative self-talk. Keep replacing it with positive affirmations. Keep talking to yourself like you would talk to your best friend. At first, it might feel awkward. It might feel forced. That's okay. That's normal. Remember, you're learning a new skill. You're rewiring your brain. And like any new skill, it takes time and practice to master. But here's the beautiful thing. The more you practice, the easier it becomes. The more you challenge your negative self-talk, the less power it has over you. The more you use positive affirmations, the more natural they feel. The more you talk to yourself with kindness and encouragement, the more it becomes your default mode of thinking. Now, let's talk about why this matters so much. Your self-talk isn't just idle chatter in your head. It shapes your beliefs about yourself and the world around you, and your beliefs. They shape your actions, and your actions shape your life. If you constantly tell yourself, I'm not good enough, you're likely to shy away from opportunities. You're likely to give up when faced with challenges. You're likely to settle for less than you're capable of achieving. But if you tell yourself, I am capable of learning and growing, you're more likely to take on new challenges. You're more likely to persevere when things get tough. You're more likely to reach for your goals and achieve them. You see, your self-talk is like the operating system of your mind. It's running in the background, influencing every decision you make, every action you take. And just like you can upgrade the operating system on your computer, you can upgrade the operating system of your mind through positive self-talk. Now, I want to address something important. Some of you might be thinking, but Jim, isn't this just positive thinking? Isn't this just ignoring the negative aspects of life? And my answer is no, absolutely not. Positive self-talk isn't about ignoring reality. It's not about pretending everything is perfect when it's not. It's about approaching life's challenges with a growth mindset instead of a fixed mindset. It's about focusing on solutions instead of dwelling on problems. It's about believing in your ability to learn and grow, even when things are difficult. You see, life will always have its ups and downs. You'll always face challenges and setbacks. Positive self-talk doesn't change that. What it changes is how you respond to those challenges and setbacks. When you talk to yourself positively, you're more resilient. You're better able to bounce back from failures. You're more likely to see obstacles as opportunities for growth rather than insurmountable barriers. And here's something powerful. When you change how you talk to yourself, you change how you feel. And when you change how you feel, you change how you act. And when you change how you act, you change your results. It's a chain reaction that starts with your self-talk. That's why these 3 days are so important. They're the beginning of that chain reaction. They're the first domino that can set off a sequence of positive changes in your life. Now, let's talk about how to make the most of these 3 days. First, be patient with yourself. Remember, you're learning a new skill. You're changing habits that have been formed over years, maybe even decades. It's not going to be perfect right away, and that's okay. Second, be consistent. Don't just do this when you feel like it. Make a conscious effort to monitor and change your self-talk throughout the day, every day. The more consistent you are, the faster you'll see results. Third, be specific. Instead of general affirmations like I'm great, use specific, believable affirmations that relate to your life and goals. I'm capable of learning new skills, or I'm making progress towards my goals every day, are more powerful because they're more concrete and relatable to your daily life. Fourth, write it down. Keep a journal of your self-talk. Write down the negative thoughts you catch yourself thinking, and then write down how you challenged and reframed those thoughts. This not only helps you become more aware of your self-talk, but it also gives you a record of your progress. Fifth, celebrate your successes. Every time you catch and reframe a negative thought, that's a win. Every time you use a positive affirmation, that's a win. Acknowledge these successes. Celebrate them. This reinforces the habit and makes it more likely to stick. Now, let's talk about what you might experience during these 3 days. At first, you might be surprised at how much negative self-talk you engage in. This is normal. Most of us have developed habits of negative self-talk without even realizing it. Becoming aware of it is the first step towards change. You might also find it challenging to challenge and reframe your negative thoughts. Your old patterns of thinking might feel more comfortable, more familiar. Push through this discomfort. Remember, growth happens outside your comfort zone. As you progress, you might start to notice small changes in how you feel. You might find yourself feeling more confident, more optimistic. You might notice that you're approaching challenges with more resilience. These are all signs that your new way of talking to yourself is starting to take effect. By the end of the 3 days, you might not have completely transformed your self-talk. And that's okay. Remember, these 3 days are just the beginning. They're the foundation upon which you can build a lifelong habit of positive self-talk. Now, let's talk about how to carry this practice forward beyond the 3 days. First, make it a daily habit to check in with your self-talk. Set reminders if you need to. Take a few minutes each morning to set your intention for positive self-talk, and a few minutes each evening to reflect on how you did. Second, create a list of go-to positive affirmations that resonate with you. Keep this list handy on your phone, in your wallet, on your bathroom mirror. Whenever you catch yourself engaging in negative self-talk, refer to this list and choose an affirmation to counter it. Third, surround yourself with positivity. The people you spend time with, the books you read, the shows you watch, all of these influence your self-talk. Choose to expose yourself to positive influences that reinforce your new way of talking to yourself. Fourth, practice self-compassion. Remember, the goal isn't to never have a negative thought. The goal is to catch those negative thoughts and respond to them with kindness and understanding. Treat yourself like you would treat a good friend. Fifth, use visualization techniques. Spend a few minutes each day visualizing yourself talking to yourself positively, handling challenges with confidence, and achieving your goals. This mental rehearsal can help reinforce your new patterns of thinking. Now, let's address some common challenges you might face as you work on changing your self-talk. One common challenge is consistency. It's easy to start strong but then fall back into old habits. Remember, change takes time. If you slip up, don't beat yourself up about it. Just acknowledge it and get back on track. Another challenge is dealing with deeply ingrained negative beliefs. Some negative self-talk might be rooted in core beliefs you've held for a long time. These can be particularly challenging to change. Be patient with yourself. If you're struggling with deeply held negative beliefs, consider seeking support from a therapist or counselor who can help you work through these. You might also face resistance from others. Sometimes when we start to change, the people around us can react negatively. They might be used to the old you and feel uncomfortable with the changes they see. Remember, your self-talk is for you. You don't need anyone else's permission to talk to yourself positively. Now let's talk about the long-term benefits of positive self-talk. When you consistently talk to yourself in a positive, supportive way, you're likely to see improvements in many areas of your life. You'll likely experience increased confidence. When you regularly remind yourself of your capabilities and past successes, you'll feel more confident in tackling new challenges. You'll likely be more resilient in the face of setbacks. Positive self-talk helps you maintain perspective when things don't go as planned. Instead of seeing failures as permanent and personal, you'll be more likely to see them as temporary setbacks that you can learn from. You'll likely experience reduced stress and anxiety. Negative self-talk often fuels worry and stress. By changing your self-talk, you can create a more peaceful, positive internal environment. You'll likely be more motivated to pursue your goals. When you believe in yourself and your abilities, you're more likely to take action towards your goals, even when the path is challenging. You'll likely have improved relationships. How you talk to yourself influences how you interact with others. When you're kinder to yourself, you're often kinder to others as well. You'll likely experience greater overall life satisfaction. Positive self-talk can help you appreciate what you have, celebrate your successes, and maintain a more optimistic outlook on life. Now, I want to emphasize something important. Changing your self-talk isn't about ignoring problems or pretending everything is perfect. It's about approaching life's challenges with a constructive, growth-oriented mindset. Positive self-talk doesn't mean you'll never feel sad, angry, or frustrated. These are normal human emotions. What positive self-talk does is help you navigate these emotions in a healthier way. Instead of getting stuck in negative thought patterns, you'll be better equipped to process your emotions and move forward constructively. Remember, the goal isn't to eliminate all negative thoughts. That's not realistic or even desirable. Negative emotions and thoughts can serve a purpose. They can alert us to problems that need addressing. The goal is to change how you respond to these thoughts. It's about catching the negative self-talk and choosing to respond with kindness and encouragement instead of harsh self-criticism. As we near the end of our time together, I want to leave you with a challenge. For the next 3 days, commit fully to this practice of positive self-talk. Give it your all. Be vigilant about catching your negative self-talk. Be diligent about challenging and reframing it. Be consistent in using positive affirmations. But don't stop after 3 days. Use these 3 days as a launching pad for a lifelong practice. Because remember, it's not about perfection. It's about progress. It's about consistently choosing to be kind to yourself, to encourage yourself, to believe in yourself. And here's something powerful to consider. By changing how you talk to yourself, you're not just changing your thoughts. You're changing your life. You're reshaping your reality. You're becoming the architect of your own destiny. So I challenge you, no, I dare you to talk to yourself like this for 3 days and beyond. Speak to yourself with kindness. Encourage yourself. Believe in yourself. Remind yourself of your strengths, your resilience, your capacity for growth. Because when you change your self-talk, you change your mindset. When you change your mindset, you change your actions. And when you change your actions, you change your life. Remember, you have greatness within you. You have the power to shape your life, to achieve your dreams, to become the person you've always wanted to be. And it all starts with how you talk to yourself. So go forth and begin. Your new way of talking to yourself starts now. Embrace it. Practice it. Make it a habit. And watch as it transforms your life one thought at a time. Thank you for your time and attention. Now go out there and start talking to yourself in a way that empowers you, encourages you, and brings out the best in you. The best is yet to come. God bless you all.